Don't we just have the best customers? Okay. Our next innovative customer award managed to scale in a way that is pretty rare. All right, the way they transform their finance function to accommodate rapid change is truly remarkable. Next up, we're going to talk to two people who have helped their organization scale in a very effective, efficient way.
With the company's growth through acquisition, we could no longer just rely on adding headcount. We needed our finance organization to focus on more value-added activities. We needed to do things better, faster, smarter.
In this modern world, digital transformation is a reality. Companies that don't embrace change through digital transformation will be left behind. We have to take advantage of the technology available and the automation that it offers. And I believe that BlackLine delivers that through their products.
From the moment we implemented BlackLine, each and every subsequent audit that we had was better and better because the controls were there. The ability to get to the data was there. For a company that has 12,000 reconciliations a month, to have 52% of those auto-certify, that was a game changer.
Please welcome to the stage Pablo Baez and Michael Heeney. Good morning. Beautiful. Okay, how many of you wore pink shirts today?
And matching socks.
And matching. And kind of goldish shoes.
I worked it.
You did the whole thing. Okay, so we were just talking about, normal accountants. Pablo, would you consider yourself a normal accountant?
I probably not.
How come?
Well, I really like coding, programmers, and process improvements through automation. So pretty good with VBA and Python.
And you're good with change then as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of the things that we struggle with sometimes is an appetite for change is pretty low.
Oh, yes.
Because change has risk, and risk is, can be difficult.
Yes, and who likes change, right? It's very difficult.
Well,
except for wet babies.
Yeah, but you do get used to it. Yeah. Okay, tell me a little bit about yourselves.
So I guess my journey in financial services started 15 years ago while at Schering-Plough. I joined Quest 9 years ago, right at the point where the company decided to go from a very decentralized organization to a very centralized organization. We knew that as we standardized the processes, brought them into our shared accounting services area, we were going to have to depend on enabling technology to get it done. We zeroed in on BlackLine pretty quickly for the account reconciliations, the task manager. And when the IT team heard that there was no server to stand up, it was software as a service, they were on board.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because, early days of BlackLine, getting people to go with software as a service took a little bit of work. And nowadays, finally, companies are starting to see that as an advantage.
It's a big plus.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to maintain your own servers? Pablo, tell us about you.
Yes. Well, according to Wikipedia, no, wait a second, LinkedIn. I'm a finance accounting professional with over 20 years of experience working in public and corporate accounting. So I was brought to Quest Diagnostics 10 years ago to start centralizing the accounting function, which, as you imagine, was a pretty large task. But thanks to great leadership support, an awesome team in Collegeville for you guys, and my drive for process improvements and automations, we got it in 4.5 years, pretty much.
Wow.
But then, with great success comes more work.
Yes, always.
So the scope of centralizations kept expanding. And that's when we decided to go with BlackLine. Yeah. It was a really great change for us because it's the best thing that has happened to any accounting, finance department, besides getting a good ERP implementation.
Oh my goodness, you did that too?
No.
Oh.
That's the dream.
Okay.
That would be the best thing that could happen.
So 52% auto certification. All right, hang on, poll. This is just interesting to find out about you too. How many people in the audience get at least 52% auto certification?
Bravo. All right.
Not enough.
But we're doing something right.
Yes. Actually, you know, our average is quite a bit higher. Okay. You guys are underperforming. I don't know. Okay. We need to get you down to the innovation lab to look at all those rules and see which ones you can turn on. So the acquisition thing. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of work to do an acquisition. You were able to do something like 30 acquisitions?
That's the whisper number.
Oh, sorry. Oops.
Yeah.
A lot of them, that's a lot of acquisitions
Yep.
in just a very short time.
Yes.
How do you manage that? And how did you manage that without just having ballooning expenses?
Well, I have to say the key was probably BlackLine because we knew that we could group the accounts, you know, just because we brought a new entity or a fold-in acquisition. BlackLine was there, the rules were set. We were able to just bring it in, and from that point on, it just was part of the workflow, it was part of our standardized processes.
Wow. Do you use rules-based administration to assign all the new stuff?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
It helps a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, within the system, let's say you have a series of new accounts that are coming in, you can set up rules. If it's part of this entity or this account range, you can assign it to particular people. Based on maybe its balance size, you can set a frequency with which it needs to be reconciled. So you can do you can do a lot of the administration piece automatically. So that's super cool that you guys are using that. Okay, tell us about the BlackLine journey, because if you're doing all these acquisitions and not an ERP implementation, but plenty of other things, you're not adding headcount. How do you find the time to put BlackLine in? And how did that go?
Well, the implementation went pretty well, and that was because the culture of the company being very innovative. We're always looking for ways to do better in terms of the testings that we do, and that translates through the whole organization. So with great management support, we got the resources needed to actually focus on that. So it was a pretty quick implementation, I would say. It took us 3 months to get the recs, the accounts module done with tasks, and then within a year, we completed matching.
Wow, okay. Now, I'm just curious, how did you guys handle training?
Has been mostly internal, but we got one of your guys that used to do all the online training, so we brought it live for a 2-day training.
So you did some live. Did you use the BlackLine U at all? Get people to do online courses?
Well, for all the new users, as we onboard them, yes, we walk them through that.
So did you have any trouble getting people to adopt BlackLine? Was there a change management aspect to this that was a bit of a struggle, or no?
There's always that group that wants to hold on to the Excel spreadsheet. I heard Mark refer to it, and we talked about it in the back. But ultimately, people get there. They realize that what they had been doing in Excel is really no longer necessary. It's in BlackLine. If you have the right template, you can move it forward very efficiently.
Yeah. And tell me about how you ended up with matching.
Oh, that's a very good story. So we were between BlackLine and another company, and your sales reps talked about matching. We said, really, is it that good? Of course it is. Well, we gave them our biggest and our baddest bank account and said, here you go. Would you come back to us? And I think it was roughly a 2-week window. They came back, and I want to say it was in the 80% range that they got the matching. And for us, That sold us. That was the game changer right there, because we have a whole lot of bank accounts that we have to reconcile every single month. And to have, you'll quote the percentages, a very high percentage of matching is pretty significant on our workload.
I like it when people ask us to prove it. That's always good. So, any other results you've seen?
Well, thanks to the implementation and how well it went, we were able to save 500 hours a month,
Wow.
approximately, for 36 users that started using it.
Wow.
We got a 95% automated matching
Nice.
coming on board, the 54% auto certification that you said. So all those resources help us to go through all the additional acquisitions that we had and additional internal work that we keep centralizing with really no adding additional headcount.
That's pretty cool. So what's next?
Well, I think compliance for us. We're just going through our SOX testing right now. For the corporate accounting function, high 80s are already covered in our BlackLine Task Manager. In the centralized accounting, it's nearly 80%. And for the handful of IT SOX controls that we're responsible for, roughly 50%. So I can just imagine throughout the rest of our organization, if they're using Task Manager to certify during the year, this would take a whole lot of self-testing off of our shoulders.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on being one of our first winners.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you very much.